Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, osia dem yopo.
Thank you for giving us all the latest. Amama Gold, Imelda Nasser, and we have to go to the Electoral Commissioner. That is the chair for the EEC, Jim Mensah, giving us this at a press conference or an interaction.
We propose to close the polls at 3 p.m. Our experience in 2020 revealed that by 1 p.m., 70% of our polling stations were empty of voters, as most voters had cast their votes. This made it possible because the threshold for most polling centers, as I mentioned, was reduced to 500 voters per polling station. In the past, we had a high threshold, some 1,000 and more, and of course, our kits did not function as they should, and so you would find that we had several people in the queue for long hours. And we believe that with the system we have put in place, reducing the threshold, increasing the number of polling stations, and of course with the robust kits that we intend to deploy, we will be able to move at a faster pace. If you compare the turnout in 2016 to that of 2020, in spite of the hassle-free process in 2020 and the lack of long queues and lines and so on, we had a voter turnout of 79% plus compared to 67% in 2020. And so we believe that if we should implement this process and this policy to the fullest, we'll have a smooth process. And by 3 p.m., of course, if people are in the line at 3 p.m. and it has to go on till later, they would still be registered. It is not to say that the polls come to an end at 3 p.m.
The history of our electoral politics show that our electoral processes from 1992 has been undergoing a lot of reforms. But there's one area that has never been reformed. There's one area that has never been touched in our quest to fine-tune our electoral process. That area has always been the electoral commission, it's always been Ghanaians. And it's the area of the start or commencement of polls. Every election since 1992, you will have instances of late start of polls. Every election, you have instances of late start of polls. And so if we will keep on starting polls late in some constituencies or some voting centers, then telling us that you want to bring the close of polls 3 p.m., reducing it by 2 hours, will be problematic because we don't start our polls early.
Right.
If the Electoral Commission will be able to put in place mechanisms to ensure that at all voting centers, materials and everything is there to enable us to commence voting on time, then we can take a look at the proposal that has been made. Other than that, then I think that we haven't gotten there yet.
And there have been some concerns being raised across board, but there should be some merit from the Electoral Commission. But I know that this is not the first time that this has been proposed. What do you make of this?
Good morning once again, Roland, and good morning to my co-panelists. And I wish you well. I've been here for a long time, so I'm back on board. I would say that I agree totally with
Madam Mensah?
Yeah, I agree with her. Because when you are at the polling station, most of the time, you realize that between 1 to 5 o'clock, it's very, very slow. Very, very slow.
The momentum.
In fact, most of the time, you don't get people coming till it's around 4:30, and you see people rushing last minute to come and vote. So within that time, I believe that when they bring it to even 3 o'clock, you will get people rushing between 2 to 3 o'clock to come and vote. And it's high time we let people know that. And one, the other problem we should look at is the lighting in the evening when you are counting. During the day, from 3 to 5, I mean, you can't take more than 1 hour to count 500 ballot papers. And every polling station is going to be 500. So you can't take more than 1 hour to count those 500 ballots. At the most, 2 hours. So by 5 o'clock, you still have sunlight there. You don't need to go and bring torches and go and put it in a classroom or go and put it somewhere that people will come and say that, oh, and they're going to do something here or they've done something to the ballot papers and everything. I think it's every time after every election, we improve upon what we are doing. And it's a step in the right direction. I believe we should support them fully in this cause, and it will help all of us.
Janswa, no, let me come to Amaliba before.
I think that ever since Jim Mensah took over the reins of the Electoral Commission, she's developed a penchant for throwing up ideas that seek to disenfranchise people. We are still dealing with the Ghana card only brouhaha, and now you are introducing this one again. I think Jim Mensah doesn't know the terrain of this country. That's one. Two, I'm not sure she has visited all her district offices. I'm not sure she has done that to know the rough terrain that we have in this country.
Why do you say that?
Look, if she wants us to even close at 1, we can do it. She should further reduce the numbers at the police to 300. That's not the issue. The issue in this country is that voting days are not declared as holidays. I've kept quiet so that it will sink into her ears. Voting days are not like other countries where it is declared as a public holiday. People will have to go to work for some time, and be able to coax their employers that, can I go and exercise my franchise?
Interesting.
You get it? On a voting day, if some people don't go to work, they'll be fired. They'll be fired, Jim Mensah. So what people do on the voting day is to go early, work assiduously up to some time, say 3 o'clock, and then ask for permission from the employers. Because when you now do that, your employer will be amenable to ask you to go and vote. So by closely at 3, Jim Mensah is seeking to disenfranchise these people who are bound to go to work and come. In fact, even in the farming areas, people will have to go to farms because some are there. If they don't go to the farm, they will not get food to eat. So they'll go to the farm and then start returning from noon, and then they can go and exercise their franchise. That's why I'm saying that Jim Mensah seems not to know the terrain of this country and doesn't understand the culture. So the 5 o'clock was not given because people wanted to close at 5. In any case, she talks about collation so that we can collate early, isn't it? And that will bring about transparency. Who says that collation brings about transparency? Who says that? We were in this country when the last elections, Techima South, there was no collation. Results were declared. Supervised by the EC. Superintended by them. Was that fair? Or was that what was the transparency? So, please, an election management body should conduct itself in such a way as to rope in as many people as possible who are eligible to vote and want to vote. But you don't do things that will cut off. So, would you imagine on the voting the next day you ask somebody, oh, I went to work before I came, they had closed. And yet this person wants to vote. So I think that he should understand here in Accra, Ghana, Accra here. Sometimes you as a journalist, just Amasamai, or even Pram, or even one Dodua, you hear voting has started late. Around 12, that people are in queue, they've not started. How about areas they call overseas areas in this country? You see where I say he doesn't know the terrain of this country?
Around the Afram place where the voting materials always get there
late. So when you add that one to what I have said about people who have to go to work and come and vote, I think it's a wrong idea. It's a bad idea for her to even want that.
But is it not about us being conscious and making sure that we do the right things? We know that this is voting day, and indeed, all employers or whoever is undertaking any form of activity that day will have it in their calendar that it's voting day. So you schedule it. Even if you're from, and it's good that you just traveled into the hinterlands because of your work as leading the reconciliation directorate of the NDC. So we all know the terrain. But if it's part of your calendar, the argument will be that you should schedule it appropriately.
you are asking that we leave it to the whims and caprices of employers. And an employer can choose to go by what you are saying or choose to refuse that. Look, you have work to do. You dare not leave. If the EC can, as it were, champion that we should have voting days as public holidays, this your argument will work. Anything outside that, it won't work. But a chunk of our people will work in that day. So let the EC know about this and let her be aware.
All right. Lajanto, what do you make of this as well? Because it's not the first time. I think the last election, this was proposed, but of course rebuffed by the political parties.
Good morning to our viewers. Good morning to my fellow panelists. Maybe what the EC should do should probably send a CI to Parliament and indicate that elections should be held first Saturday of the month of December instead of 7th, because 7th can fall on a weekday. But if it's first Saturday, then at least not a lot of people work on a Saturday. And employers will be prepared to give leverage for voting. Maybe that is what we should be looking at. Instead of saying that you drastically would change from 5 p.m. to 3 p.m. Even if you want to try it, move it an hour ahead, say 4 p.m. to give people the time. So you decide to do it at 3 p.m. By 2 p.m., there's a rush of people at various polling stations that can extend it into 5 p.m. What about that? What about that? If people know 3 p.m., and we know the Ghanaian style, we wait for last minute. And then by 1:30, 2 o'clock, there's a rush of plenty people at the various polling stations. And you say we're closed at 3. And there's backlog of people at the polling stations. And it closes at 5. Have you won or have you not won? You've defeated your purpose.
No, come again
So-
on that point. I don't get it.
So, you said 3 p.m. We know the Ghanaian style where we come late.
Yeah.
So by 2:30, there's a huge backlog of people. You're closing at 3 p.m. But those huge backlog of people who are
in the
there,
line, they will vote,
well, yeah, they'll vote. But that voting could take it up to 5 p.m.
Yeah.
What about
Assuming. Assuming. You're assuming.
Please,
It's an
go on.
assumption.
It happens.
that? You don't think it's possible?
It happens all the time.
It's an
Okay,
assumption.
okay.
Please go ahead.
Okay, look, this is not a party issue. This is a national issue that we have to discuss and make sure that we do it in such a way that everybody is clear. Look, the Ghana card issue, where the electoral commissioner wants to use that as a, what do you call it? How many people have Ghana card? So I come to the polling station. You're closing at 3. I've gotten there at 10 to 3. I don't have Ghana card. There's argument and it pushes it. Who caused harm? She should be very careful she doesn't cause mayhem. So, what is the issue? The issue is the counting at night? Is that the issue? Make it possible for counting to happen at any given time that elections end. Make it possible. That is what she should be concentrating on. And not trying to disenfranchise voters. Because definitely, closing at 3 p.m., yes, you say you have experience of us finishing early. Is it everywhere? Is it every polling station? I don't think so. So as much as possible, make it comfortable for people to vote. And try your possible best to give NCCE a lot of money to start training and educating people that don't wait last minute to go and vote. As much as possible, get there early. Luckily, this election in 2024 falls on a Saturday. 7th December falls on a Saturday. So, perhaps you will not see it. But when it falls on a weekday, you want me, who is employing you, to leave your work to go and vote? Is that what you're telling me? Then, as Amaliba said, let's declare 7th December
A public holiday.
public holiday. Let's declare vote a public holiday.
Okay.
The way we took 1st July out, it's not a holiday. Let's substitute it with 7 December as a public holiday for people to vote.
At the end of the day, if you look at the considerations that have been made and input by leaders in academia, Professor Jampo, etc., the argument is for the Electoral Commission led by Madam Jim Mensah to widely consult stakeholders. And the stakeholders are not only political parties, but also individuals with interest in the political space, the media, relevant institutions who have participated within the political, civil society, and then ordinary Ghanaians.
It's a national discussion.
She's announcing.
For national discussion.
Which one?
Which one?
What we are doing now isn't a discussion. You think they are not taking points from it? No, what we are doing now.
She's
you think they are
playing
not taking
Kokofu
points from it?
football.
Oh, please.
She wants to put the thing inside, and if it happens,
Roland, don't be like a political party.
What do you mean by that?
When they know they are losing elections, they look for every excuse.
What do you mean by that?
Why they should not do anything?
She wanted to use Ghana card. She went to Parliament.
Why
It was
they
rebuffed.
should
But
not use anything positive to make sure that we bring transformation. We grow. We don't grow down. We grow up. And every exercise you do, you learn from it and improve upon it. That is what we expect. That is what we expect everyone to do.
The majority
And
leaders.
I don't see where, when you tell someone that's 5 o'clock, and the person will go to the farm and come. People go to the farm and come at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
People go into a line and stay there like that long line.
Where?
Jan Try is talking about some polling stations.
Where?
Some polling stations.
Where?
We have how many how many thousands of polling stations? Which one do you want me to mention? I said it happens because I go around, I move around. I'm an observer when it happens. And I go and I see what happens there. 4 o'clock, 4:30, you see people rushing. And what he's saying at 2 o'clock, people will rush and it will stay till what time? They said, I am reducing it to 500 per polling station. She tried it in 2020. It worked very well for us. And now she's saying that, okay, let's reduce the time. Per polling station. Per polling station. So it becomes easier and more manageable per polling station. I'm going to open more polling stations up because it should not be more than 500 per polling station.
Do they have
so
the
that
money
we
to
have
do
the?
that? Do they have the money to do it?
If she hasn't got the money, she wouldn't work on that. Thank you. So what you have to do, let us see the positive in it. Let us see how we can all work together to make sure that this becomes a success. Because it's going to be a good story for Ghana. And it's going to be a good story for us. Why is it that some people always have opposition to any good idea that someone is bringing if it's not coming from them? As if they have any good idea they are even bringing. You sit there and you criticize anything the woman wants to do that is positive to the growth and the image of this country. She has sought this thing. She sat down, she's looked at it. She has been at the helm of affairs. She doesn't need to travel to all the 275 districts or their various offices to see how the office looks like, to know what happens at the police station. She has officers, they get reports. That is why they are doing the assembly elections. They do other elections. They get reports every time to know what happens there. And after that, that is where you see that she sits down with her team to draft all these things and bring it out for the public discourse. We are discussing it today. They are picking points. She sent it to other organizations. They are picking points. She has a team of advisors. They are picking points from them. She hasn't gone that, okay, from this thing, what do you call it? On the 7th of December 2024, this is what I'm going to do. She has brought something out that, listen, let us all look at this situation. That let us close at 3 o'clock. One, it gives people the sense of time to know that, listen, by 3 o'clock it's closing. I have to go and vote early. When you give people 5 o'clock, someone will get there at 4:45 and will stay in the queue for about an hour or maybe 30 minutes. It carries on till late. There are some places, as you are saying, that, those places they start maybe late. When they start at 12 o'clock, don't they still close at 5? Don't they still close at 5? If they say they've even started voting late, don't they still close at 5? But at least when they give a call to the head office, that listen, and because the materials got there late, and most of the time the materials get there a day before. Most of the time, apart from places that they go through water and everything. These days now, they are even using the helicopters and everything. So it's even become easier for them. And it's part of the charge. That's why they are seeking more money. So it becomes easier for them. So when they start, let's say even 9 o'clock, and they said, okay, add 1 more hour or 2 more hours, it will travel to like 4 o'clock. Because there are particular places that you need to give special dispensation. And it's for her to do that. So let's travel to this time, maybe 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock they finish. Maybe those places, there are no lights.
Let's stick to the 3 p.m. because
I'm coming. Most places, or some places, there might not be lights. So when you close at 5 o'clock and they put all the sheets together and they are now collating and everything to start the counting, it will take you up to 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock there is dark. They are now going to buy torch lights and what do you call it, fluorescent lights and all these things. It goes and it tells you that anything could happen during that time.
Mr. Alfred
She's thought about it.
Mr.
And she
Alfred,
said,
they are not
listen,
fighting anyone.
I'm coming.
I'm explaining.
I'm explaining.
You're
And you know
shouting.
that's how I talk.
That's not how you
Don't you
talk.
know? Oh.
Okay.
Bro.
No, it's okay. So I have this one from Richard Fogo in Damango.
Can I finish my
No,
submission?
don't. Because what you're saying, let's add this bit, then you add it. It says health workers, for example, run 3 shifts, and they are part of essential workers in Ghana.
Okay.
And he says they are not the only people. We have the military. That day is not a public holiday. So on voting day, those who go to shift in the morning and then round up at 2:30 p.m. will then be rationed and go and vote. When their residence or voting area and their place of work is far apart, does this proposal not mean that they could have difficulties and so cannot vote?
No, they wouldn't have difficulties. One, all those military personnel, police personnel, they vote sometimes even a week before.
No.
They have the
It's not
special.
every police. No,
I said
it's
all
not
those.
misinforming.
Can I?
No,
you write it
when
down.
somebody's
Write it
misinforming,
down.
stop him.
I write it down. I said
Stop him.
all those military personnel, police personnel, who have special duties
but
on
that's
that
a
day,
different matter.
they vote a week before. They
how
call it
about
Because I wanted
special-
you to add no.
Special duty.
I haven't finished. Then you are jumping in. Why?
Special duty.
Why are you behaving that way? When you people are talking like I'm quiet.
So say it right.
The reason why I allowed it, because even sometimes the media are loud.
Thank
No,
you.
but he said
Thank you.
all.
I haven't finished. Then you are jumping.
Yeah, you
said
corrected
all.
him, so he changed the
Listen,
narrative.
Listen, I said all those. Didn't I use the word
Special.
those?
All those
I used
ones.
the word those.
Those ones.
Okay, please go ahead.
All those police personnel, the military,
Refers
even
to-
media and everything, who vote and who work on that day are given special dispensation a week before.
Not health
to do,
workers.
Oh, I'm coming. To do, what do you call it? Special voting. Now, when even in a line, we are there and people come, for mothers carrying babies, breastfeeding mothers, for old ladies, for special people, like maybe the health worker you are talking about, when they come and they explain that, listen, at the polling station, common sense will just tell you that, oh, let's allow this person who is a health worker to vote early and go. And it's allowed. There's nowhere that someone will come and tell you that, no, we won't allow you to vote. Common sense will tell you. So where is the mistake that Jane Mensah has brought out? That, listen, let us do it early and close early. Unless maybe NDC wants to tell me that they have a nocturnal thing that they do at 6 o'clock. So, chin, let us finish by 5 and start counting at 6.
What does the
Maybe they
NDC
have
got to do with
Maybe they
this?
have their nocturnal thing. That's why they are opposing it.
They
But
caused
this
the shooting in
This is a
Techiman.
brilliant idea that everybody, any right-thinking Ghanaian will say that, listen, let's go for this, because this would, in fact, erase all this late-night counting and everything. This late-night collation that will bring boxes, or you can carry boxes and you'll say that, oh, this box has been turned here or it's been passed here, or all those things. So let us look at it let us look at the message in the right perspective and rethink and ask ourselves that 3 o'clock won't it help all of us? Because I keep on asking a simple question. Even if you give them 7 o'clock, people will come late. Even if you give
Mr.
2
Amaliba,
o'clock, people will come
Mr.
late.
Amaliba.
Yes.
So apart from that, for example, I know people who live around the Misiga border, or they work around the Misiga. They have their farm areas. They have to trek back into Boko, etc. And that's where the voting center is. And if you go to many areas across the country, so the intent of what the Constitution does indicate is that you don't create a situation where people will have to make that decision to be excluded. Because somebody can easily say that, after all, if I know that I can't make it in time at 3 p.m., I better maybe forget it. Others will vote.
You see,
So then you create a lack of access.
you are dealing with a country where, apart from the voting day not being a holiday, you're also dealing with a country where elections are not compulsory. You know, there are countries where it's compulsory. So if you make it difficult, this Misiga border health worker or Misiga border security man, who he's saying that he'll be allowed to vote early when his duties are at the border and not engage in election matters. Those who are allowed to vote early are those who are engaged in election matters and not those who are engaged in their formal places of work. A soldier man who is not part of the security on that day will not be allowed to vote early. So, the point is this. When we are talking, it's not as if we are against Jim Mensah. Look, today, if a certain topic had come, I would have supported her.
Like what?
The one that she said, scanned pink sheets will be displayed.
On portals.
Perfect. I, Amaliba, sitting here today, would have given her thumbs up this morning. So you see that if things are good, we all know it. We all have a sense of fairness. We all have a sense of what is good and what is bad. God has given us that sense. So immediately something is bad, it will trigger in your head. So it has nothing to do with NDC MPP.
Learn from you.
It has nothing to do with the NDC MPP. So he should stop that type of talks. Because we all want the good of this country. If the EC brings up a proposal which is good, we all agree. It doesn't lie in the mouth of the EC to think that because of his administrative convenience, because she wants to go home and sleep early in her house, we should close at 3.
What?
She doesn't need your permission.
You get the point? Now, he just spoke about flying helicopters with materials. If you can provide a helicopter to fly materials, can't you provide lights? Which of the two is economically challenging? A helicopter or lights at the place to do the counting? So that mischief should stop. That torchlight, we have to go and buy torchlight. You don't go and buy torchlight. The EC must provide a budget that will deal with lightning. Because if the country can provide a helicopter, a country that can provide a helicopter, that country should be able to provide light on that day. So we are not against EC. We are against policies that will disenfranchise people. One person who is eligible to vote and is denied a vote is wrong. That's what I want to tell you. One person is wrong. And so if you put impediments on the way of that person, and the Texas said it, people go on shift, they close at 2. Who voting center is far away. How does he get there and vote? And yet this person is dying to cast his vote. So the Jim Mensah should exercise his power slowly. Somebody talked about consultation, and he said that is why we are doing it. This is not. We are not talking about. Here is consultation.
I said it's part of it.
This is not part of it.
It's part of it.
We are critiquing. Now, consultation is when you call people, stakeholders, and you move all over the country, and you put the ideas out.
Like the one that should have been done before E-levy.
Exactly. I wanted to use the E-levy and say that even though it was wrongly done, nonetheless it was done.
Mischief detected.
Even though it was wrongly done, because that one, the E-levy went before they started the consultation. But at least they know what consultation is. These people, they know it. But they don't know how to start it. They don't know whether it is before, after, middle, or that kind of thing. So if you want to engage in such a change, drastic change, he's saying it's a drastic change, then you need to have consultation with stakeholders. And EC is not doing that. They only come, Ghana card, bang, we'll do it. This will do it. We have a right to do it. We'll do it. Are you ruling animals? Is it animals which are going to go to vote?
What is the concern about how the EC tend to make its announcement? If there is the concern that it is devoid of wide consultation of stakeholders, or what will be the repercussion of such announcement if it is devoid of?
PENDREAM TV now, so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.